aside from the valve covers, which are behind me, we've got a new coolant neck here, which I just took this over to the other building and got a straight edge and made sure that this is actually a flat surface. I've had a lot of these that when you get them out of the box, it's not flat, it's at an angle, and they will leak. So we're going to be replacing that thermostat housing and gasket with that one. This should be our transmission pan gasket and filter. Filter and gasket. Bonus points if you can tell what transmission it is just by the shape of the gasket here. It's square with an angled edge. No guess? It's a TH350 Chevy. And then below this here is our oil pan gasket set for this. So usually I don't really care for these gaskets as they got all folded up and stuff in here. But I'm going to go sit it under some weight on a workbench and try to get it flattened out before we start messing with it. I'm probably going to just start with the valve covers because that's going to be the easiest job. Alright, guess is on if it's a stock valve train. Let's figure it out. Oh, yep, stock valve train. It's kind of disappointing. But we're going to set these aside because as I pointed out in the other video, neither one of these valve covers have breathers on them. Now, these can actually get knocked out and we can put them in, but we have another set right here that already has them. So we're going to go ahead and run this set. So the threads stick out too far on these for the new valve covers because they're stamped steel versus these cast aluminums. But these things are adjustable, so I can shorten them up. And that'll work just fine for what we need. I've actually found a couple of these were assembled wrong. Let me get this screw out here and I'll show you what's going on. But see how there's no end here, it's just flat. This one's stuck, but let me get it out of there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now that it's flipped over, oh, I fell my cart. Anyway, it's supposed to be a Phillips end in there. It's got some rust in it, but it's kind of hard to do one-handed. I'll get a ran down in there. But you're supposed to be able to take the end with a screwdriver, run it down, and then lock this jam nut and set these. Got the coolant draining down there. While that's going, go ahead and get this upper radiator hose off and out of our way. Doesn't hurt to keep extra old, that's a 1 gallon jug of 1540. Doesn't hurt to leave that stuff laying around. Keep a couple extra empty jugs because this car sits pretty low and that actually cleared once I cut a hole in it to catch the coolant. And it's clean, so I can hopefully save the coolant because the customer did not bring new coolant. So we got the coolant neck switched out. This was the old one. So I had to go find a bolt. So you can see the boss there is taller, but we had one in stock. Looking at it, the way it came apart, it looks like it was a gasket failure. Actually, looking at it now, looks like the thermostat wasn't in there right either. Yeah, maybe it was. That just looks really off-centered with how much it's sitting up into the gasket here. Either way, it's in there right now. New gasket, and we put a little bit of RTV on either side of it, and we're going to let that sit for a while and set up before we put coolant in it. We cleaned it with brake clean before we put it together, just to make sure we had a good clean surface. Went and cleaned the intake manifold off where it was leaking. So this should have that problem taken care of. Get the hose put back on here in a minute, and then we can rotate the intake back straight. And that should do it for the top side. Now the engine can breathe. Before it was pushing the dipstick up, and the only place it can get a crankcase to vent was through there. So that's what ended up causing a lot of the leaks on this engine, is it was blowing pressure out anywhere it could to let the engine breathe. Alright, so watch this. Get you guys in here better.
Brand new housing.
Yep. I'll wipe it off again and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's cracked.
Lovely Chinese gent.
Yep. Well, at least it was flat.
They give the car the Corona.
So we're back working on the Model A here. And the transmission pan gasket was leaking. So I've got the pan down. And this car just keeps getting better. So here's our transmission pan. I don't know if you guys, I mean, I know you guys can't feel that, but that is some thick sludge all through the bottom of the pan. And then the filter. It's got a bunch of stuff in it too. And the problems just keep coming on this car. So we got the oil pan off, as you can see. I've got the engine surface cleaned. I started cleaning the oil pan here. I don't know if you guys can tell in the video. There's a huge dent right here. The whole pan from here out is rolled down. This thing is all bent up and there's a crack right here in the back of it. Right there. So we have to get an oil pan for it. They were supposed to order a transmission pan. They didn't. Hopefully they'll order that. Put the old one back on there for now. This thing's pretty beat up. But we're starting to make progress on at least getting the leaks in it fixed. And from there, this thing's going to go to the chassis shop. Get all the frame welded up, then it'll come back and we'll finish the rest of the stuff on it.